Good morning. Good morning to those who are in Central Time and good afternoon to the ones who are in Eastern Time. Today we are here on Medicaid basics, and mostly we will be talking about eligibility of Medicaid, and this program was put together for you by Legal Services of North Florida. My name is Anna Zhoromskaya. I'm an elder justice attorney at Legal Services of North Florida, and together with me is Sheila McClellan, who is a elder justice paralegal at Legal Services of North Florida. And stay tuned after Medicaid presentation for Florida Legal Risk Detector Tool information and slides. This presentation was put together based on the most recent information and updates from Medicaid statutes and regulations, Justice and Aging Resources, Florida Health Justice Project, PLI, and NICLR Resources. So what is Medicaid? We all hear about Medicaid, but it's such a complicated program. It is a joint federal and state program offering health insurance and other benefits to those with limited income and assets, and it was enacted in 1965. So right away you can see that it's limited to income and assets, and that it's a health insurance, and that it's regulated by federal and state government programs. The Medicaid provisions are contained in Title 19 of the Social Security Act, as well as in other regulations, and as they apply to Florida, in Florida Statute 409 and Florida Administrative Code, and you can see the actual rules listed there. Medicaid is an entitlement, meaning there are no enrollment caps or waiting lists. So what, excuse me, what services does Medicaid provide? It provides inpatient and outpatient hospital services, physician services, nursery facility services, early and periodic screening, diagnostic and treatment services, home health services, labs and x-ray services, transportation to and from medical services. There are optional Medicaid benefits, including home and community-based services, dental and vision insurance, prescription drugs, hospice, physical, occupational, speech therapy.
All right. Okay. So, all right. Thank you.
Who does it cover? So Medicaid covers about 80 million of low-income individuals. And out of those low-income individuals, more than 4.6 million are older adults. And it also insures about 60% of people living in nursing homes. There are two main coverage groups, which are mandatory and optional. So mandatory coverage groups include families with minor children, individuals with disabilities, individuals 65 years old and above, Medicare buy-in groups, which include Queen Bees, Slim Bees, and QIs. And we'll discuss them a little bit later in the presentation. And as to optional coverage groups, those include Medicaid expansion based on age, excuse me, 18 to 64 years old, and medically needy individuals who share the cost. There is also SSI related eligibility. Which includes eligibility based on supplemental Social Security income, which is a federal program for adults over 65 years old who are blind or disabled, with income limited to $841 per month based on 2022 update from CMS, and $2,000 in assets for an individual, of $3,000 for a couple in assets. This is calculated based on earned, unearned, in-kind, and deemed income. So every kind of income. Excuse me. Additional requirements exist for U.S. citizens and aliens. So pretty much generally U.S. citizens qualify for SSI-related eligibility, and there are additional requirements for permanent residents. So if you do represent an individual, check first whether they are U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, or maybe not. That might be a problem for Medicaid eligibility. And most SSI recipients automatically qualify for Medicaid. There is also SSP-related eligibility, which is a state supplemental payment eligibility. And many states provide such supplemental payments. So for example, in Florida, if one receives SSI and lives in an adult family care home or assisted facility, one may qualify for an additional SSP in the amount of $78.40. And there is a mandatory Medicaid eligibility for persons receiving SSP. Eligibility based on medically needy group of individuals. And these individuals will share a cost of Medicaid, and there is a spend down option that allows older adults above the normal income limit to become eligible after they spend their excess income on healthcare. So those services will include services not covered by Medicaid, health insurance, dental insurance, and old healthcare bills. And so the old healthcare bills in particular should be old, but not too old. Maybe some bills that incurred right before Medicaid eligibility occurred. Medically needy eligibility requirements can be very complex, but helpful to seniors with high medical expenses. So if you have a client who is medically needy but is ineligible because of a few dollars, try to lower their income by increasing their expenses, for example, for dental and vision insurance, or apply for one spouse instead of two at once. As to eligibility date, the date is of application, or its state option, the first date of the month. There is a retroactive eligibility up to 3 months prior to the month of application, if any. If an applicant met eligibility requirements for the months in question. But however, please note that Florida eliminated this eligibility for non-pregnant adults in 2018, but with ongoing monitoring of impact. Long-term services and supports, which are included in Medicaid. As to nursing facility, it is a required benefit under Medicaid, must meet medical level of care. The services include skilled nursing, help with activities of daily living, and supplies. May or may not have an income cap, which is generally set at 3 times the federal SSI rate. This rate is updated annually and depends generally on the state. Usually the states are pretty much uniform as to that amount, but Hawaii and Alaska. And an individual must spend most income on care minus a small personal allowance, which is usually somewhere between $30 and $75 a month. Important to remember is that Medicare does not cover ADL care and is limited in the coverage of the nursing home stays. So that's where Medicaid steps in. Another long-term services include home and community-based services, which is an optional Medicaid benefit, generally is subject to a cap, and allows individuals to receive long-term services in the community instead of the nursing home services. Must be eligible for nursing home services to qualify as to the individual, and individuals get needed support services and full Medicaid coverage. It can take many forms, including adult health care, personal care attendant, assisted living, case management, delivered meals, and so forth. And as to Florida, you can find more information on HCBS and HCBS waivers and applications and so forth on ACA's website, which is listed in this slide. There is a great option for spousal protections under long-term services. And it is specifically a spousal impoverishment protections, protects spouses and community spouses, applies to nursing facility benefits and is mandatory for HCBS. It was intended for the spouse at home to keep some of the couple's income and assets and still qualify the other spouse for the Medicaid coverage. So in this case, one spouse is able to actually get covered by Medicaid and receive, for example, nursing home services and stay in the nursing home. And the other spouse will stay at home and keep some of their income and resources. As to community spouse, it allows to keep higher amount in resources, and you can see the numbers here updated in 2022, as well as allows community spouse to keep higher amount in income as well, and allows community spouse to keep all of his or her own income with no limit, no cap. Dual eligibility. Dual eligibility is an opportunity for a person to receive Medicare and Medicaid at the same time. So it is possible, and approximately 10 million people qualify for both. However, Medicare always pays first. Medicaid is the payer of last resort. However, it may pay for Medicare excluded services such as dental, vision, hearing services, transportation to and from medical appointments. There are Medicare savings programs that allow coverage by Medicaid as well. So for example, those qualified Medicare beneficiary, QIMBY, there is an income limit of up to 100% of federal poverty level. Specified low income Medicare beneficiary, SLIMB, income limit of up to 120% of FPL. Qualified individual, QI, income limit of up to 135% of federal poverty level. And as to the benefits, for example, for QIMBYs, Medicaid pays for Part A, if any, and Part B premiums. Medicaid may pay for deductibles, coinsurance, and co-payments for Medicare services furnished by Medicare providers to the extent consistent with the Medicaid state plan. So it depends on the state. And as to SLIMBs and QIs, Medicaid pays for Part B premiums only. Those programs are highly affordable, and Medicaid has out-of-pocket protections compared to Medicare. There is a huge incentives to get Medicare enrolled, Medicare enrollees into Medicaid and MSP whenever possible. So to achieve dual eligibility and to receive maximum benefit. 80% of QMBs have full Medicaid and 20% have QMB only. As to Florida COVID-19 update, you should know that Florida Medicaid coverage has been extended until the end of the public emergency, which means that no Medicaid recipient can lose Medicaid eligibility during the public health emergency. So if you have a client who comes in and tells you that their benefits have been terminated, there must have been an error or something else happened, and you should take that case or refer it to legal services to fix such issue, as no individual should lose their coverage during public emergency. Also, as to Florida, extension of time have been implemented to provide verifications up to 120 days. Risk certification process was extended by 6 months. Waiver of service limits for COVID-19 patients was implemented, as well as the waiver of prior authorization for behavioral health. If you have any questions about Medicaid eligibility, please call or email us with questions, or maybe you have a client that needs services or legal advice. Please direct any calls or emails to our attention, to Sheila and I. And if you need additional information on Medicare or Medicaid, please look at PLI website for CLEs, at Florida Health Justice Project, and so forth, because NICLR, they have invaluable resources and information to get acquainted with those topics, as they're very complex, and even the statute itself is very convoluted. So those programs explain eligibility and requirements and all the aspects in detail greatly. And on that note, I'm going to pass the torch to Sheila, who will introduce you to Florida Elder Law Risk Detector Tool.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm going to do just a really short presentation of our Florida Elder Law Risk Detector. Okay. Elder people's critical legal needs are sometimes disaster legal assistance. We can help with assessing services, with contractor cases, with predatory assignments of benefits, also abuse and neglect, including domestic violence and financial exploitation, housing, including foreclosure, landlord-tenant disputes, home ownership issues, including public housing issues, and then consumer scams like predatory lending. A lot of times with the legal needs of the senior population, they don't even realize that the issue they're having, is considered or can be considered to be a legal problem. And so they don't seek services. So we encourage you to use this tool that we're going to talk about, to help them establish, whether or not they do have a legal problem. Okay. Our outreach efforts include providing consultations, both to the elder and to their caseworker or caregiver or loved one. We do trainings and presentations, and then technical assistance sessions like today. Next. So what is the Elder Law Risk Detector? The risk detector is a web-based legal health checkup tool, if you will. It allows groups serving seniors to screen older adults for common legal issues, and it allows them to refer them to a partnering legal services program, such as Legal Services of North Florida. The screenings can take place in someone's home. They can be organizational or community-based. They can even be done over the phone. It currently screens for legal issues or vulnerabilities relating to housing, healthcare, consumer abuse, and financial exploitation. The risk detector does not provide legal advice, and its use does not form an attorney-client relationship between any parties. Next. So what community partners can use the risk detector? Area agencies on aging, lead agencies, senior centers, social workers, any ombudsman program, APS investigators, housing counselors can use it, community healthcare people, medical staff, victim advocates, law enforcement, family caregivers, financial institutions. Really, anyone can use the risk detector. Next. So anyway, the way you get to it is you go to floridaelderlaw.org. And if you look on the screen, it says Florida Elder Law. And then where it says in the dark blue, Florida Elder Law Risk Detector, if you go to this website, click right there. You can, take it a run for yourself. We just ask that you put in like Jane Doe, so that we know that it's just, someone just testing it out, but we invite you to do that. Next. So how does it work? It's again, it's a web-based application, and it can be accessed using, any device, whether it's a computer, tablet, or phone. Okay. And again, we just invite you to take it for a run. Go to floridaelderlaw.org, click on advocate or caregiver, click on the risk detector. And there are two versions of it. There's an express version that's relatively short. And then there's our standard option, which is a little longer. And again, if you'll just, please use the Jane Doe language when testing the application, so that an actual referral is not generated, because if you don't use Jane Doe, then it's going to generate a referral. That's it. Thank you. And so again, if you have any questions about a senior with a legal issue, please call or email your questions, or send your feedback to either myself or Anna.
And thank you. You see our contact information here on the screen. I'm going to stop sharing this now. And thank you for joining us. And if you have any referrals, please send them our way. And if you have your own clients that you are seeking to help with Medicaid issues, I hope this presentation was helpful. And again, if you have any questions, please contact us via phone or email. And thank you and have a wonderful day.